Miles Morales Ultimate Spider-Man #1. A lot of stuff happened in this issue. The Green Goblin is back, Miles' father has been missing since Cataclysm when he found out that Miles was Spider-Man. There's this pair of criminals that have been labeled the Spider-Man twins. Miles is considering telling his girlfriend his secret identity, and Peter Parker is back. Maybe. I'm excited to see Miles take on the Green Goblin. I think now that he's matured and gotten some experience, having him take on this villain who is very dangerous and major and such a big figure from Peter Parker's life is going to help to establish him as the worthy successor. I'm hoping that Miles' dad was kidnapped or somehow there is more to this story, because even with everything that has happened to this man, it's kind of unforgivable for him to just run out on his 14-year-old son, who doesn't have a mother, doesn't have any other family apparently to take care of him. There was nothing really that interesting about these Spider-Man twins to me, but I'm sure putting them in the debut issue of this relaunch means that they're going to be pretty significant and they're going to play a big role in the story arc that's to come, whether it's something about their identities that's significant or something about the person that they're working for. So I'm curious to see how this unfolds. It was nice to see Miles turning to Mary Jane for advice. I like that Bendis has kept the supporting cast of Peter Parker's story relevant to Miles' story. I mean, it's not like they're hanging out with him all the time, but it's clear that he has some sort of relationship with Mary Jane and Gwen and Aunt May, which is very nice, and it helps to make it feel like it's not just, hey, we picked some random guy who got spider powers too, and it's sort of a continuation of the story. No, I mean, having that supporting cast does make it feel like the story is being continued, so I really like that. I'm hoping that this story arc with Katie Bishop will finally show us more about her character, because I don't feel like we've gotten to know her very much so far. When the story skipped ahead a year, they skipped past Miles meeting Katie and starting to date her, so he was just automatically dating her, and she's been in this girlfriend role where she's nice, but we don't really know that much about who she is or her personality yet, so I'm hoping there's a purpose to that. Finally, I found the Peter Parker reveal to be pretty surprising. I was not expecting that at all at this point. I mean, in Ultimate Spider-Man 200, when they had the gathering, they showed somebody in the shadows watching it, and it seemed like, hey, is this Peter? So I'm not surprised that they have something going on with Peter in this story arc, but I was surprised to see it just happen at this point. Is it Peter or is it not? I kind of want to believe that it is Peter. I mean, I'm a big fan of the series, I have been for a while, and I got very attached to that character, so I'd like to see him come back. But my gut is telling me that this is a fake out. Something about his introduction just seemed off to me. I mean, I don't feel like Peter would just sneak into somebody's apartment and be like, I think it's time for the original Spider-Man to get back in the game. It just didn't really sound like him. Beyond that, I mean, the introduction of him coming so casually, the precedent has sort of been set there when Gwen returned from the dead. I think she just kind of walked through the doorway and it's like, hey, Gwen's back. But the same thing happened with Richard Parker, who turned out to be an adult clone of Peter Parker, so that was a fake out there. I feel like they're doing something like the Richard thing, and this might be a clone, the one that had the scorpion tail to him. It could be him, and he thinks he's Peter, but I don't think it is. Even beyond what's going on in the story, I think if you look outside of the story, it just doesn't seem likely that Peter Parker would be introduced here. They've just relaunched the series and they call it Miles Morales Ultimate Spider-Man. Why would they introduce Peter in the first issue of this and have him play a supporting role in the Miles series? I mean, if Peter Parker is back from the dead, I think we're all going to want to see him get his own series, and there isn't any word of another Ultimate Spider-Man series coming anytime soon. That to me just kind of indicates that this is going to be a small story arc. I just can't see Bendis bringing Peter back just to have him play a supporting role in Miles' story. If this was the final issue of a volume and Peter was reintroduced and we had another volume coming after this that didn't have Miles' name in the title, then I'd be pretty certain that it was actually Peter and that he was going to take the lead role once again and that Miles would still be in the series. But having Peter Parker return in the first issue of the series called Miles Morales Ultimate Spider-Man, it just seems kind of doubtful to me. So I'm predicting that this is kind of a fake out that's designed to help us see Miles as a worthy successor and sort of let go of the hope of having Peter return in a way. I don't think that he's definitely going to stay dead forever, but I think at this point it's going to be the fake out. There have been similar things like this done. I think when Bucky was Captain America, there's this one issue where there was a Steve imposter that Bucky had to fight. So this kind of thing is not really that out of the ordinary to bring back the original, but it's not really them. That's really all I've got for this video. Please tell me what you thought of the issue. Do you think this is really Peter? Do you think it's a clone? Do you think it's something else? And I don't know. There are so many possibilities that this could be. But thank you very much for watching. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, subscribe, and tune in next time.